Disclosure news and commentary number 114, 114, 114, 114, 114.
Before I start the video, just so you know, poor Gold's leg is in the cast. Send glue, quick.
Her pet crab has a broken leg, and she's saying send glue quick. I don't know if anybody's going to send glue, but what I do know is somebody sent me something to unbox, and I'm actually doing it at the beginning of the video like I'm supposed to, so that's exciting. In Patreon news, videos are definitely coming, and will continue to come. And somebody bumped their thing up from this level to that level, so that's amazing. Good old Derek, a.k.a. Lamar Diggs, and who has asked me to look at a match of his, and since he paid up, I'm going to look at it next. Obviously, people saw the job that I did with Bryce Cannon winning the Coastal Championship title, and that was over an hour long. Pray for gold. But let's do this unboxing. So I got this, and dude, what is... So this is a Chael Sonnen thing, and now I've got a second one, which is awesome. So I got two of these shirts. That's hilarious. And now I've got two Chael Sonnen. Dude, you guys are keeping me dressed in the stuff that I like, and I appreciate it. That is wild, and that is crazy. And I've been told by people that they're sending things. So next week, more unboxings, more greatness, so much to talk about. Let's jump in. I would be remiss if I didn't bring up Tipping Point. Hey, Steve, Tipping Point on Tuesday. What are you guys going to do? Who are you going to talk to? Wouldn't it be cool if we talked to somebody who's at the center of a little bit of controversy? And so we are. Donnie Janella, who is going to be running a seminar soon, wanted to come on and talk about it and state his position. And a few people, but most notably, of course, William Huckabee had something to say about it. Instead of addressing it here, I'm just going to talk about what I think about what Huck said and what Donnie Janelle is doing and all the rest of it. I'm going to save that for Tipping Point, so you're just going to have to listen to that bad boy, which you know you want to. Anyway, our commentary... People said they liked it when I tell them at the beginning what the commentary is going to be about, which is great. The commentary is about two boring words put together that actually can change your life. And those two words that are pretty ordinary by themselves are basic etiquette. Basic etiquette, and how that applies to pro wrestling, and more importantly, just your everyday lives and the things that most of you barbarians and heathens do online. And not good heathen like Logan Creed. Logan Creed, hopefully you get better quickly. But we're going to talk about that stuff as part of the big part where we're going to talk about Southern Honor in general, because there's no denying they absolutely killed it. But we're going to get to all of that. APW checking in with 67. Cool. Renegade dropping to 55 people drawn. Cool. But I love the honesty. Bless you both. Bless you both. Let's talk about Pro South, who managed to have an eventful show post Big Show. And that's important. And one of the significant things was Joe Black sending in a promo. And that is mighty cool. And Joe Black promising to return to Pro South next week to address some issues that he has. Oh my goodness. People doing things. As a reminder, what is a promo? A promo is short for promotion. So this is the first week of the new month, or the first full disclosure of the new month, which means we got to talk about who's winning so far. What's the winning feud of the year? Well, right now, I'd say the three nominees are some variation. of Zach Mosley against Skrilla because they're having the third in their match series at KLT. And they've done all that great stuff building up to it, and their rivalry extends to multiple promotions. All of that is very cool, very interesting. Obviously, Team Sexton, Todd Sexton, and David Manders, their respective crews at Southern Fried. That thing has been red hot, stay red hot. Even when it looked like it was cooling down, they heated it right back up, which is excellent. And now, do you not put Logan Creed and David Ali there? I think you do. So now we're looking at 3 viable contenders for Feud of the Year, which are all red hot and completely different from one another, and that's very exciting. Who's your clique of the year or tag team? Well, if you look at 3 teams that you want to put up there, I'm going to put up All-Star Special. I'm going to put up the Exotic Youth. And as far as the third group or team, I would say it's undeniable. Folks, we're at the halfway point of the year just about. Let me repeat those 3. All-Star Special, Undeniable, and Exotic Youth. When's the last time there were 3 tag teams or factions that mattered in multiple promotions doing great stuff? All of those 3 units can lay claim to being the best at something. All-Star Special, you can bitch, moan, and complain, but they're selling out all their merchandise, and they're exciting everywhere they go, right? Undeniable, they work up top everywhere they go. And their ring work is exquisite, and their promos are even better. And then you've got Exotic Youth. When they're not busy making Gary Lamb pretend that they didn't get the better of him, they're raising hell in any number of promotions, being exciting, doing their thing, plying the trade, being real pro wrestlers, folks. Really exciting. Who's our wrestler of the year so far? Is it David Ali? It's a good chance. That's the guy that I'm going to put up right now. Other people might dispute. Other people might deny. But David Ali is top dog at Southern Honor and now has been for a few shows. David Ali is he was really the driving force personality-wise of IWE for their most successful show to date. He's getting those AEW spots. This is Larry Goodman, so I'm going to pause this for a second, and then I'll let you know what Larry and I talk about. Yo! So it was always good to talk to Larry. So we are on like Donkey Kong for Tipping Point tomorrow night. Donnie Janela actually got with Larry to make sure that we still wanted to have him. Of course we do. So it'll be him and Owen Knight tomorrow night. And then booked 2 weeks from tomorrow night, Dan and Tank motherfuckers who are getting booked all over the place. I saw today that they announced that Tank is going to take on John Wayne Murdoch. What? The number 1 death match wrestler in the world against our own Tank? Buddy, I might have to find a way to get up to Jersey. Said no one ever. But I just said it. We shall see. We shall see. So that's very exciting. And Larry opened the conversation with just saying, less is more, which I thought he was referring to something I had said in the Bryce Cannon. By the way, the feedback I have gotten for the Bryce Cannon Oda match is really heartening. It really feels really good. You don't hear people use the phrase heartening. You hear disheartening all the time, but you don't hear heartening. Now you have learned that is a word that you can use as well. Southern Violence, which Larry wrote a report for. By the way, you should be reading his stuff. You should be reading Rob Rod's stuff. GWH, newsandnotes.blogspot.com. And Ryan Murdoch has apparently retired off of his match. 290 people outside at the brewery, drinking, having a good time, doing their thing. And normally, that would have been enough to take the weekend. Except, we gotta talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. Southern Honor. When you're drawing 417 paid, when you're drawing 440 total, I call that a crowd of 440. F it. I'm giving them 440, right? 440, right? And then Gary Lamb cuts his promo. Let's talk about the Heat part first. Oh my God, finally booking Heat. Gary Lamb gets attacked by somebody in a mask. Maybe he was, I don't know, one of Exotic Youth. That would be exciting. Maybe it's somebody from the past in Southern Honor. Maybe it's QT Marshall. Maybe it's a bill collector. I don't know, but somebody attacked Gary Lamb. Dun, dun, dun. But that wasn't the biggest thing that happened that night. The biggest thing, of course, David Ali hitting Logan Creed in the head with a flaming barbed wire baseball bat. Now, you would think that that wouldn't blow me away because I live in Florida, and that's just called every other night if I step outside. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. I thought the angle came across well. And how many times have I said how important pictures are? By the way, the people who are doing pictures for Southern Honor, I will put them on par with Red Shoes Media, who everybody knows Red Shoes Media is my favorite photographer of wrestling stuff. But the stuff that's coming out of Southern Honor looks absolutely unbelievable. And Logan Creed, you know, you just have to be blown away and impressed with the whole thing. And the thing with David Ali beating up, I mean, you got to read the report. I'm got to read the report. I'm looking forward to watching it on IWTV. Very exciting stuff going on. And then Gary Lamb, once again, addressing me without saying my name, which makes me Voldemort, obviously. Sort of this doom and gloom, this whole big thing. Fun story. When Gary Lamb originally wanted to get me involved at Southern Honor, and he contacted me and he said, wouldn't it be great if you cut a promo where basically you were going to give your green jacket up to me because I'm the biggest heel in Georgia wrestling? And I said, one, I don't think that really helps you as much as you think. Two, I didn't have a green jacket at the time because I had already given it to Hankins. And three, Gary Lamb's not the scariest guy in fucking Georgia wrestling. It's clearly me. And him addressing me, but being afraid to say my name, shows that, like, I'm daddy, right? I'm his daddy. And he's my son. And only one of us has an intricate, intimate, sexual knowledge of pro wrestling, and that's clearly me, because pro wrestling is my mistress, my woman, my wife. And he's the beneficiary of it right now, which makes him the son. So me and wrestling fucked, and then wrestling had a baby, and that baby is Gary Lamb. But the problem, I don't know why Gary Lamb continues to address. I get the thing of we need to have a focal point. We need to have an enemy. And for storyline purposes or whatever, if I'm supposed to be some sort of boogeyman over Southern Honor, I can accept that role. I happily accept that role. But the only part that creeps me out about it is if I'm daddy, which we've established, and wrestling is my woman, and Gary Lamb's our kid, what makes me what I think is dubious is the Oedipal complex of Gary Lamb, right? He's attempting to destroy his father and take my place. I don't know why he would want this role. This role would require way too much work. He would not be comfortable with it. He would not be comfortable with the messages that I constantly get. he would spend all of his time responding to that stuff. And I find it more disturbing because if it's Oedipal and he wants to replace me while taking on my values, then he wants to fuck wrestling. And like, that is what it is. He's welcome to try. Some would argue that he's already fucking wrestling. And that is what it is. But at the end of the day, Southern Honor should be congratulated for their success. The one thing, and this is something I've always really liked about Gary Lamb, is boy, him reaching for the stars, right? And they're going to come back with a show July 2nd. And Gary, intelligently, he is a promoter. He is a promoter at heart and primarily a promoter. Notice I didn't say wrestling promoter. Wrestling is just like a subset of what he does. He's a promoter at heart. And he knows that that's July 4th weekend. And it's going to be a challenge. So he's challenging the people that are going to be there to bring 3 people with them. Very smart. Very smart. And then the August show, is that Rumblejack? Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that's Rumblejack. That's huge. By the way, Tank and Dan have already been announced for that Rumblejack. They're the first entrants. Boom. And then a promo by them played. Awesome stuff. Again, they're promoting shows in advance, right? That's how you do this stuff. I love it. But then Gary, everything's going great, and he's flush with success, and everything's great, and we're conquering the world, and I thought people couldn't draw in the summer, and all this kind of stuff. And then he says in October, we're going to get 1,000. Mother puss bucket. So here's my platinum challenge. Oh, God, I just thought of this. I should shut up. I should hit pause right now and not say it. My friend Ray over here, from childhood, he should come over and tackle me and cover my mouth. But he knows better, and he's like, screw you. I'm looking at my phone for once and not being tortured by your children, forcing me to play this video game and shaming us both of us old men who've been playing video games forever. And my 9-year-old's in here showing us what's up and talking trash and all this kind of stuff. Here's my challenge to Gary Lamb. So you say 1,000 in October. And if I recall correctly, and I always recall correctly, you said this time you could do it without the hint of big names dropping in. Let us recall that Southern Honor indeed drew 1,000 people to that building. They weren't allowed to say Cody Rhodes and Jericho and Kenny Omega were going to be there, but they were smart enough about getting the message out in a subtle way so that people knew it. They got their 1,000. Super great. But they said when certain people who were, let's be real, I hate the term, but it applies. People were hating. People were jelly. People were mad at Southern Honor and Drew Blood, and other people were like, well, but it doesn't really matter, and it doesn't really count. It fucking counted. Southern Honor drew 1,000, and it's awesome, and it's amazing. But declaring that they're going to do it again in October is a bold statement, especially if you're going to do it without bringing in names. Here's the platinum challenge. Gary Lamb, a bet. A gentleman's bet. We'll pretend that you and I are both gentlemen. Oh, well, of course we're gentlemen. October, drawing 1,000. I say nay. You, obviously, will say yes. And it's just up to Gary Lamb and I to figure out the terms of the agreement. Gary and I will discuss amongst ourselves. We are friends. And we will probably find some way. I don't know. Gary, you're smarter than me when it comes to this kind of shit. What's the bet going to be? Let's decide amongst me and you and find a way to announce it publicly. The bet is on as far as I'm concerned. Now it's just a matter of coming up with terms. That's fun to me. And again, how strong is wrestling right now? You got Southern Violence right at the 300 mark. You got Southern Honor well over the 400 mark. You got Southern Fried. They got frickin' Shindig coming up, their big show of the year. God, I hate that name. 12 days. Michael Judas putting out a promo. And how great is it to see Michael Judas putting out a promo? It's wonderful. You got Anarchy drawing the biggest crowds they've ever drawn. Two shows in a row. You've got Pro South that killed it, thanks to Steven Platinum, in small part. But let me have my fucking moment. Fuck you. Right? You've got all of these groups coming up. All of these matches being sent to me. You got me doing my thing again. Oh man, I'm going to have to dig into some dark stuff. Do we want to go to the dark stuff first, or do we want to go to the light stuff first? Oh my God, remember our friend, the Magic 8 Ball? Should we do the dark story now? Come on. Yes. God, not even a signs point to yes. Okay, we're doing the dark story now. Scooty, moving my booty. So I can make sure I put the picture up at the right time. I'm introducing a new segment on Full Disclosure, and it's called Dead to Us. And it's where I finally declare that some motherfucker or some motherfucking group is dead to us. And you can argue with me all you want, that's fine. All I know is Victory Championship Wrestling, because you're affiliated with this bullshit of doing a camp for kids, a pro wrestling camp for kids, which is already questionable, already spurious, already troubling. But the fact is, when you look at the ages on it, what is that, 8 to 15? When Johnny Slaughter is still running around and apparently, supposedly, what he is in trouble for, potentially will be convicted of, involves him and a 15-year-old. The bad judgment and look alone would put you on life support with me. The fact that you persist would put you on life support with me. The fact that it is so distasteful, it is so egregious, it makes pro wrestling look bad. Think about the magnanimity of that statement. It makes Alabama wrestling look even worse. Simple common sense, pride, and some sense of decency would prevent this from happening. They would have cut Johnny Slaughter out of all of this a long time ago, for propriety's sake. And just know, whatever excuse you want to fucking make, if you are involved in this bullshit at this point, and I've taken the side of, let's wait and see. Let's give the benefit of the doubt. Blah, blah, blah. Dude, at this stage of the game, fuck you. You're cool. No, nothing's cool about this, and fuck you too. Victory Championship Wrestling, this kids camp, continuing to have Johnny Slaughter involved in this stuff, it is a disgrace. I think this is one of those rare times, you know the meme with everybody putting their swords in the middle and all of these entities that often disagree with each other. I think this is one of those times where everybody's got their sword in. And if for whatever reason you do not have your sword in on this round table and you want to message me privately or address me publicly and explain to me why somebody who, even if it was just rumors swirling around about having inappropriate relations with somebody who is 15 years old, there, I just said it out loud, being part of a camp of pro wrestling for kids 8 to 15. I can't believe I'm saying these words out loud. You know how many times I had to explain to Ray what was going on? Because Ray just was like, is this a thing? Like, what? There's no, what? That's disgraceful. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to me that I would like, oh God. If you're at Victory Championship Wrestling and you're not Johnny Slaughter, the fuck? You know how many shows there are going on? There are 13 shows happening next weekend on Friday and Saturday. You can get booked elsewhere. Are you telling me bookers, promoters in Alabama, Carolinas, Georgia, hell, Florida, Tennessee? I want a promoter or a booker to contact me if one of these people from Victory Championship Wrestling wrote you, messaged you, got in communication with you, and said, I don't want to be affiliated with them anymore. I would appreciate it if you would keep me in mind for a spot at your promotion. Are you telling me you wouldn't at least respect the effort? Are you telling me that you wouldn't go out of your way? And if you were a show that needed somebody, wouldn't you immediately go, come on down? Because to get rid of bullshit like this, to get rid of garbage like this thing that sullies all of our names, it's going to require effort. And a disproportionate amount of effort, unfortunately, will fall on certain people. There are people that have already come out and spoken. There are people like me who was sent this information because they know I'm going to yell it out on a platform and then all of a sudden it will create more attention. But more than that, it's going to take the support of the people who are wanting to do the right thing. I am going to give the benefit of the doubt from Victory Championship Wrestling in general to the people who work there that are not affiliated with Johnny Slaughter or any other kind of impropriety, fucking gross ass bullshit. That you would rather not have your name attached to it, but either you're lazy or don't think you should leave or whatever. But if you do want to leave, I want to put a call out for other promotions. You don't have to do this, but to at least be open to the notion of, hey, if you're with these guys and you don't want to be with these guys anymore, contact me. Come on over to Death Row, right? If you're tired of accused molesters all up in the promotion, come on down to Death Row, right? So it's going to take people. It's not enough to just say, if you are affiliated with this bullshit, which I've seen people post already, right? If you're affiliated with this bullshit and then you try to come to me and want to get booked on our show, I'm going to laugh in your face. I believe Southern Violence said that. But it could be any promotion, right? We need to have the attitude, my opinion. We need to have the attitude, hey, just come to me. Come to me. Come to me and say, hey, I don't want to be affiliated with this Victory Championship Wrestling. I don't want to be affiliated with Johnny Slaughter. I don't want to be affiliated with running a wrestling camp for little kids. There are a million things this is stupid for, right? In a state where you have a commission that's all over your ass, how is this even going to happen? It's not going to happen. So if you're affiliated with any of this stuff, what I want is for promoters to reach out and go like, hey, I'm open to it. Just say you want to come over and we'll freaking figure out a spot for you. And let's just wipe this stuff out as much as possible. It's the best way we can handle it as a wrestling community. And frankly, we have an obligation to do it. It's one thing to get the word out. It's one thing to put up a Facebook post, and people have done that, and it's wonderful. But what we need to do is to support the people in the community who don't deserve to have their careers hurt and have no place to work because of it, if that makes sense. Whew. Okay, let's go on to something much more pleasant. Oh my God, let me move out of the way so I can get these pictures up. And I'm just going to put them up, intersperse them here, there, and everywhere. Who are these pictures of? The lovely Danny Jordan, the IWE Women's Champion, two-time. What are these various pictures of? Every day she has been IWE Champion, she puts up a picture or posts about it, or somebody refers to it and she retweets it and whatever. 16 days she's been IWE Women's Champion. I witnessed it when she won it. Why am I putting these pictures up? Very simple, very easy. Because all I hear and read is promoters bitching and moaning and wailing and crying about how guys won't even share the poster. Maybe I'll stop booking you if you won't share the blah, blah, blah. And Danny Jordan is putting up a post a day, whether she's in Jacksonville with AEW, whether she's working out, whether she's hanging out. She's got these pictures going up. Folks, is she not the person who's doing the best job as a champion of any of the groups in Georgia? Of promoting the fact that she's a champion, getting IWE's name out there, showing that she's happy to be the champion, and doing it in gimmick so that she's got that pride and that arrogance and everything that Danny Jordan wants to be and is. Folks, everybody who bitches and moans, oh, just share our flyer and blah, 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 boom. This route that Danny Jordan's taking and how IWE is capitalizing and making more of a thing about it, dude, this is a great synergy between a promotion, a wrestler that they book, and how to mutually benefit everybody. So, Danny Jordan, there's a reason that you continue to win female personality in the state year after year. And the thing is, she's getting better and better and better. And it's wonderful to see a female wrestler that is giving us a stellar example. And before certain wrestlers, male wrestlers, get their frickin' nuts in a twist about, oh, I'm doing stuff too. Yes, you're good too. If it makes you feel better, here, I'll give you a virtual pat on your head and a virtual flick to your tiny little baby nuts and say you're great too. However, we're talking about Danny Jordan. It's okay for us to talk about women sometimes without us mansplaining it, okay? So Danny Jordan is doing a great fucking job. And she's elevating the profile of IWE. And Steve, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Other promotions have women champions too. Did you know that? Maybe you're answering yes. Probably answering no. Or maybe you're just going to lie and say, of course I knew that, Steve. Yes, there are other promotions with female champions. Oh, cool. Who are they? Exactly. Fuck you, I'm right. Congratulations, Danny Jordan. That's awesome. Other people take inspiration from it, please. Whew. And does that mean, well, now I feel like I couldn't do that? Of course you can. I don't know if you've met pro wrestling, but cribbing other people's ideas, it's okay. And I think, Danny Jordan has done this great thing. That's the point. All right. I'm going to put, oh my God. Are you ready to laugh? Shit, let's get a laugh in here. What is that? Please say this is not a poster for Elite Pro Wrestling. Please say this thing is not really a poster. It's not, right? Like I'm like, people sent this to me. More than one person sent this to me. This is not a poster for Elite Pro Wrestling, right? Let's analyze this greatness. First of all, the font choice. Really good. This is the font choice that you would see on like a prison wall as you were staring at it and you're in the electric chair. It's like the last thing that you would see. And it would say like, the government's not calling, bitch, you're dead. Or whatever. But Elite Pro Wrestling and then a smattering of random tiny little pictures. Are these like, what the fuck are these things? Are these like shitbird Pokemon? It's like, am I supposed to collect them all? I can barely see the pictures. And then they're literally like clipped out and then just pasted on. There's no design to them. Let me say this, and a quick shout out to all the, I don't know of a promotion that would be on gwhnewsandnotes.blogspot.com that has what I would call a crappy poster. Not a one, and that is a minor miracle. And that, my friends, is a miracle. We got Viral next to IWE. We got Southern Honor and Southern Fried. and nobody's wasting nobody, right? And we've gone so long without seeing a truly shitty poster. This one just, oh my goodness. They're at 7252 Vintage Court in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. 3 p.m. bell time. Oh, I always love a 3 p.m. shoot. This thing sucks. I just can't believe. Surely some of these people have kids, teenagers, who can throw together a thing for. I mean, this thing is, gosh, it's trash. But the great news is it is the exception, not the rule anymore. There was a time where posters like this, of this ilk, ruled the roost. And let us just be thankful that it doesn't anymore. Okay. Whew. What do we got? We got commentary yet? Not quite yet. I want to talk about just a casual observation I had about wrestling, about national level wrestling, and sort of addressing some of the weirdest criticism I see of various things. I think the weirdest criticism that I see is that AEW just isn't pro wrestling to the people. Okay. Full disclosure, I love AEW. And I'm not going to qualify it like people always do. I'm not saying it's not perfect. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying there are things. Of course, all of that is implied because I'm a fucking thinking, intelligent human being. There are very few things that are perfect in this world. You have the good fortune of looking at one of them right now. But beyond that, AEW is really great. But when people have the criticism, I just don't understand. Like, you don't understand. Either you're being belligerent, or you're lying, or you have been so warped by the WWE and what they have convinced you that professional wrestling is, that they have moved the goalposts so far that you think Raw is more pro wrestling than AEW Dynamite? Get the fuck... Look. Here is my thesis statement. And for those of you who managed to at least get yourself a GED, thesis statement means here's the crux of my argument that I'm going to argue for. AEW is not only more pro wrestling than the WWE overall. We can quibble about NXT and whatnot. But AEW is succeeding because it is the newest version of the World Wrestling Federation. What, Steve? Huh, Steve? Huh, Steve? The World Wrestling Federation, especially the WWWF, we're talking Bruno Sammartino shit, ran under a premise of whoever the champion was dictated or set the tone for how the Federation was. It's called the Hulkamania era for a reason. Their champion dictated style. Their champion dictated the general feel and vibe of the promotion. The WWF, when Bob Backlund was champion for like 6 years or whatever the fuck, 3.5, long ass time, was a very different league in tenor and feel than when Bruno Sammartino was champion. Right? Both times. The Hulkamania era. If I say Hulkamania era, not just Hulk Hogan stuff comes to mind. A whole cavalcade of stuff. You think rock and wrestling. You think that fucking cartoon. All of that is Hulkamania. When I say Hulkamania, you think Rowdy Roddy motherfucking Piper in his motherfucking prime in the WWF. You think about Jake the Snake Roberts dumping snake on fools and dropping Ricky Steamboat's head on the concretes. You think of the British Bulldogs. Think of the Killer Bees. You think about Miss Elizabeth. That's sweet, sweet booty. You think about Macho motherfucking man Randy Savage. Think about all that greatness when I say Hulk Hogan era. And AEW whoever their champion was, dictated how it went and the vibe of it. Chris Jericho, being the first champion, let you know we're for real, we're serious. Jericho's a world-class talent. He's our first champion. A rookie mistake would have been to let Adam Page win the title, just to show, but Adam Page is different, and we're going to be different. No, 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 no. They were smart. We're big league. And Chris Jericho's undeniably big league. And then when Jon Moxley got there, Jon Moxley was the next champion because Jon Moxley got his mojo back after the WWE fucked him up. He went back to Jon Moxley, built himself up in AEW, and then took the title from Jericho, and then we were in a different era. And now we're in the Kenny Omega era, where the Forbidden Door is open, and they're doing cross-promotional stuff, and they're doing stuff with... You see what I'm saying? That's as WWF and WWF as you get. AEW books heat. Heat. We got personal grudges and reasons to go at each other. What the fuck you got on Raw? Nothing. But most importantly, the most important similarity that AEW has to the WWF and WWF that the WWE has lost sight of is fun. AEW is fun. If you give yourself over to both products, if you give yourself over to Raw, Raw is going to fuck you dry. And you know it's true. They're going to fuck you raw, and they're going to fuck you dry, and it's going to hurt. If you invest in somebody, oh, Aleister Black, okay, they're bringing him back, and he's got these, oh, by the way, he's fired. Like, they punish you for your commitment and your loyalty. Hurt Business, it's really cool. Oh, it's done. Like, they constantly punish you. WWF prided themselves on, if the fans are feeling it, we're going to make it happen. They're popping for the Ultimate Warrior, we're going to make it happen. They're going for this, they seem to like this, they seem to go for this, we're going to make it happen. Right? Darby Allin's getting over. Great. We're going to get him there. The WWF, in spite of what people want to think about that promotion now, when you think about how they had they had a reverence for older legends in the business. Would you say the WWE has a reverence for its past and its history? You are fucking crazy. They do not. AEW's the one who brought Sting in. And they treat him like a god. And like a god, he's lifting others up and making them. What was Sting in the WWE? Can you imagine if Sting ended his career there? How sad would that have been? But the WWF had a reverence, right? You wrestled for us, we'll make you a manager. Classy Freddie Blassie, Mr. Fuji, Lou Albano. We'll treat you with reverence. Even if you weren't our guy, Harley Race, we're going to let you make some more bucks and come over here. AEW is more pro wrestling than the WWE can remember being in the last few years. Now, maybe my hope is now that they're going to tour again, they meaning WWE, maybe it'll kickstart them and remind them of being what pro wrestling really is. But I wouldn't hold my motherfucking breath. I think they are more likely to sell to another entity than to regain what made them pro wrestling. Because they are not pro wrestling anymore. And AEW is. And if that bothers you, well, so be it. But I would love for somebody to try to argue with what I'm saying, that AEW is really the pro wrestling that Jim Cornette and other people purport that they want, but just deny with both hands because the thought that Big Daddy Suckling Teat WWE is not who they should look to when it comes to pro wrestling is just too painful of a decision to make. You can be that old person that doesn't change. Or you can be that wrestling fan that recognizes where wrestling and its spirit lives. Wrestling is blood, and wrestling is violence, and wrestling is using violence as a medium of exchange to solve personal issues that you create for dramatic purposes. All of that is AEW. Hell, that's more Ring of Honor than it is WWE. Now, if you want to change your definition of what pro wrestling is, we can talk about that. But the funny thing is, if you're still arguing that WWE is pro wrestling, the funny thing is, truth be told, the WWE and the powers that be there themselves, if they could tomorrow, would love to shed the label of pro wrestling altogether while you're trying to put it on them. Am I wrong? I am not. Commentary. Basic etiquette. This won't take that long. I say that all the time and I lie to you all the time. Lie to me. Clueless is on, by the way. Super fantastic. Is that Paul Rudd? Did I just realize that Paul Rudd, that is Paul Rudd, as the college dude that gets with his stepsister? Hot. Did Clueless Clueless is way ahead of its time. Stepbrothers and stepsisters getting together? My God, half of Pornhub would be gone if we got rid of that. I had no idea that Clueless was I'm just kidding. It's just the way my mind works. Forgive me. Forgive me. Oh, Brittany Murphy, rest in peace. You guys, if I'm too good for him, then why am I with him? Oh my gosh, I'm actually doing the lines as she's mouthing them. Oh, sorry. Okay, commentary. Let's go have a calorie fest and take in the next Christian Slater. Yes. Oh, you guys. Come here. Oh my gosh. That's sad when you can do it word for word. By the way, the biggest diss that anyone ever gave me that I could not respond, I told the story today to Ray and my children. Went to see Clueless with a bunch of female friends and and my male friends as well, but female friends. And I'm saying this because it's the female friend who got over on me, and this is me revealing my vulnerability to you. So I was loving Clueless, having a good time. It was all great. And then Brittany Murphy hits Alicia Silverstone with the line when they're cat fighting a little bit. You're a virgin that can't drive. And one of my female friends, I believe Robin, goes, hey, just like Steve. Because I got my driver's license a little later than my friends. And I was most assuredly a virgin. And for one of the few times in my life I can remember, I had no immediate counterpunch. That shit hurt. If we were in the modern era, 3,000 people would have shown up and gone, oh! If my friend Robin was Eminem in a wig, I would have just sat there like poor old Clarence and had to give the mic back to Future. I mean, I was demolished. Basic etiquette. We can agree basic etiquette-wise that Robin is a bitch. No, basic etiquette in pro wrestling. If nothing good can be served of saying something publicly, then address it privately first. Basic etiquette. Don't ruin another man's hustle if it's not necessary. Basic etiquette. Basic etiquette can lead you in the proper direction, but it's not an end-all be-all rule, right? Should you respect somebody who's been doing the wrestling thing longer than you? Sure. But does that mean people who've been doing wrestling for a longer amount of time know more? Not necessarily. There's lots of pieces of shit that suck. Um, Basic etiquette. Go out of your way to do the thing, especially if it doesn't require a lot of you, that assists others. Here's how it can apply. And this is going to sound petty as shit. And you know why? Because it is petty as shit. But I'm just going to say it. For God's sakes, if you're on the Facebooks and you comment on somebody's post, if their post inspired you to talk and you can't click like, fuck you. It's such a simple way to acknowledge. If somebody is sharing something about themselves, especially if it's a longer written piece, but even if it's not, if somebody's sharing something about themselves, basic etiquette dictates that you acknowledge that and you reward it. If it's something that you don't like, move on. Or if you feel the need to engage in an argument, so be it. But this thing I just don't understand is why people can't do small things. If somebody is posting, if Bill Behrens is posting a number of like older pictures and he tells us a little story and you enjoy it, can't you just snap for a brother? Pretend that we're all in the world's biggest poetry slam. Okay? And I know a lot of you have never been to a poetry slam, and a lot of you would say, like, I would never go to poetry slam because I've got an extra chromosome, or whatever your fucking excuse is to be an uncultured piece of dumb shit. Whatever. Let me let you know. When somebody has the guts to put themselves out there in a small way or a big way, and pro wrestling is putting yourself out there in a big way and a potentially dangerous way to your physical health, you have every obligation as somebody who is benefiting from their performance and their participation, even if you're not on the same show, to back them up. That's what this wrestling brotherhood is all about, supposedly. And if you want to know how that translates to real world action, then back them up. Right? If somebody asks a question, all of you guys trip and fall all over each other when Matt Classic asks some dumbass question like, one of the greatest tag teams on the independent scene today, and you guys fall all over jerking each other off, right? But when one of the actual wrestlers, one of your actual brothers or sisters in arms is putting something out, you can't have something cool to say about it? You can't help foster and create this community where we're helping each other out? Everything has to be an unequal power relationship constantly? Oh, sir, there's some wrestlers that are like, I'm going to use my clout that I imagine that I have to talk about this, but it doesn't have to be all that, man. If people are putting themselves out there, reward them a little bit. At the very least, click like. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I understand that this is a new environment, new-ish environment as far as social media goes, but if you're going to share somebody's shit, and I appreciate the people who share my shit, but I'm always stunned that people don't share the stuff and then write one thing about. Have you ever seen me share something where I don't say something? No, you got to say something because you got to let people know why it's cool. If I just share a match, that doesn't mean anything. But if I share a match and say, this is definitely worth watching because blah, 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 a million times better. Go the extra mile. Build those bridges. And then if somebody writes something that compels you to some sort of action, pay the man in some way, shape, or form, and clicking like is an easy way to do it. If you feel compelled to share something, awesome. Share it and write a little something. Be the change you want to see in the world. And what I would rather see is a Facebook feed filled with people sharing stuff, even if it's something simple as like, this meme was really fun, and just going like, dude, this meme killed me. Shout out to so-and-so for creating it. It requires nothing to give credit. Paul Heyman at ECW, when he was screwing everybody out of money and all this stuff that we like to forget about now, but one thing about Paul and that showed that he was very, very smart was he was very effusive with praise. And he did it in some measure in order to manipulate people. Why can't we just be that way in an altruistic way to create goodwill, bonds between wrestlers and promotions, and help the activity of pro wrestling in general? It's easy. Which is my very convoluted way of saying, motherfuckers, just click like on my shit. This has been Full Disclosure.